Final Fantasy XIII, one of the most divisive games in the series. I remember being so excited for this and I read a magazine review that gave it a score in the 60s. Being a huge Final Fantasy fan, I refused to believe it until I actually played it. But now I've come back with a completely fresh, open perspective.
Welcome to the party.
You miss us?
When I recently replayed FF XII, I found so much more to appreciate. So I was completely open to giving number 13 another chance. Has time been kind to 13, or is this the same game that frustrated me 15 years ago? Let's get into it.
Off to hell we go.
You know what? A strong start. Final Fantasy XIII kicks off in a neon green sci-fi city. Lightning dives headfirst into the chaos and the soundtrack is absolutely incredible. But one small thing. I had no idea what anyone was talking about. Fal'Cie, Pulse, l'Cie, Seath, Cocoon, Sanctum, Psycom, The Purge. I've got to admit you're instantly thrown into the deep end narratively. Everyone is using all these different terms as if you've known them all your life.
Our enemy's the Cocoon Sanctum, their dreaded Psycom, no less.
Psycom, Guardian Core, Pulse Fal'Cie, and their l'Cie.
While in FF10 and 12, our main characters are just as clueless as you are, always asking questions. They're used as narrative tools and need everything explained to them.
That's when Keenock, one of the four maesters of Yevon.
So you'd learn about the story and world together with these characters. 13 doesn't have that, it takes a little while for terms to be explained. And even then, it's still narratively overwhelming.
Look at us. Pulse l'Cie, using a Sanctum Fal'Cie to tell where we're going.
Let's break it down, you might need to make some notes. So there's a world called Pulse, but we're actually on this floating world called Cocoon, run by Sanctum and its military Psycom. Fal'Cie are machine gods that brand people, turning them into l'Cie. l'Cie have to complete their personal mission, their focus, so they can turn to crystal, because if they don't complete their focus, they become a Seath, which is like a zombie. I forgot about all these Resident Evil bits. So Sanctum's solution to prevent these zombies is to purge the l'Cie. A lot of our main characters are on this train full of people about to be purged. But even breaking it down, it's still quite a heavy lore dump to open a game with.
That's for damn sure.
Okay, we're kinda off to a not so great start. Surely it'll get better with 13. But if you are a huge fan of RPGs, consider subbing to Peter Bytes or liking the video. I'm a bit of an indie game developer, cover lots of RPGs. You might like my Final Fantasy series where I'm replaying them all and ranking them as I go. Thank you.
Ciao!
Hey, wait!
But before we dive into more of the world and characters, we need to talk about the game's combat. It's quite unique. We're back to pure turn-based with some experimental twists. It's pretty fast-paced and you only take direct control of your party leader. But in exchange you can queue up a few different attacks. There's also the new default auto battle option, which will automatically pick the best options for you. It might sound like you don't do much, but I'd say the real depth of 13's combat comes in the paradigm system. You can swap roles in the middle of combat. Commando for damage, Ravager for magic and staggering enemies, Medic for healing, Sentinel for tanking, Saboteur for debuffing, and Synergist for buffing the team. Party needs healing? Get a Medic. Big boss attack coming? Swap to Sentinel to take the hit.
Alright then.
FF13 also introduces the Stagger System. Attack enemies to fill a big yellow bar. Once it's full, enemies are staggered and take huge bonus damage. It's almost like a reverse limit break. But there is a catch: stop attacking and the bar drains fast, punishing defensive play. Personally, I think the Stagger system works a lot better in an action spectacle fighter or action RPG hybrid like Final Fantasy XVI and VII Remake/Rebirth.
Right.
Thing is, for almost half of FF13, you've only got 2 party members, which makes filling the bar up a lot harder. It was noticeably easier to juggle the stagger bar once I started playing with a 3rd party member consistently. This is the last mainline Final Fantasy to feature turn-based combat. I'm a little bit mixed, but I do appreciate they tried something new.
Attaboy.
I think visually there's some nice looking areas. My favourite bits are the snowy ice crystal areas. 13 definitely looks a lot better than I remember, thanks to modern hardware. You've probably seen the memes, Final Fantasy XIII, the ultimate hallway simulator, and after replaying it, I have to admit they're not wrong. It was even more linear than I remember. You really do go down a lot of linear hallways in 13.
Stay with your family.
Stopping off when you know.
Sure, lots of Final Fantasy games are technically linear to various extents, but the thing is they didn't feel as linear because there was lots of side areas to explore, and you could revisit locations. Not so much with 13, the world itself is deleted as you go forward. There's no going backwards for a huge majority of the game.
No side trips.
I'll tell you what's a real kick in the teeth. There were cities and places I would have really liked to explore. There's even an entire amusement park akin to FF7's Gold Saucer, but there's nothing to do here, it's just a backdrop you have to run through.
Yeah, but should we really be playing around?
There's little in terms of meaningful exploration or side content, and that opens up near the end of the game, when you reach that Arc-Light steps. Replaying through a lot of these Final Fantasy games, one of my absolute favourite parts has been going off the beaten track to earn optional summons. It's so satisfying unlocking a new summon and checking out its animation, while 13 is the first Final Fantasy to not include that type of content.
You got enough to complain.
So main character of 13 is Lightning, and as far as Final Fantasy protagonists go, she's written to be wonderful, kind, a relatable person, a real team player and caring leader.
If we work together and carry out our focus...
I'm going with you.
I can't babysit you anymore.
She left me.
Well, maybe she has bad days. She does show moments of growth and apologizes.
I'm sorry about before.
But later she's not so keen on accepting apologies from others and falls back into bad habits.
We messed up. Sorry.
I really wanted to like Lightning, she does improve and develop, but her early abrasive attitude keeps me back. Apparently that attitude is her way of reaching out to others.
Lightning was suffering. Reaching out to us.
But honestly, I just don't believe you should be getting violent with people for whatever reason, unless they're the big bad guys. Violence isn't a justified way to connect with others. We've had so many absolutely incredible and well-written female characters, even lead characters, but personally I couldn't connect with Lightning.
Lightning. It flashes bright, then fades away.
Other party members hold their own for the most part. Snow puts on a brave front, he's going to protect everyone and save Sarah. That's Lightning's sister and his fiancée, but really, on the inside he's struggling.
I can't! Right?
Sass is a dad who's definitely out of his depth, just trying to save his son.
Right.
Fang and Vanille are hiding a secret. They're blamed for Sass's kid being turned into a lassie. But I disagree, I think it's a bit more nuanced, it wasn't their intent.
That's a good girl.
And then there's Hope. He's just a kid who understandably becomes angry and bitter after losing his mother, blaming Snow for not protecting her. His emotional, hateful arc lasts a while, and honestly it rubbed me the wrong way. It takes a while for him to mature, but he does eventually mature.
This is pointless.
The story feels a bit disjointed, you keep getting flashbacks from different days, the 13 days before the end, but they jump all over the place. I don't mind some flashbacks as a narrative tool in storytelling, but it makes the narrative scattered, it's not the best narrative structure. Basically, our party gets branded as lassie and goes on the run from Sanctum. We get a bit of the party facing their internal conflicts, and eventually we decide to take the fight to Sanctum's headquarters, where we meet and face off with the main antagonist, Daisley, the Pope of FF13, and he's not my favourite Final Fantasy antagonist.
You mean me?
We win but escape to the lower world of Pulse. The group tries to find out what our focus is as a lassie. You need to complete your mission or focus, otherwise you become a Seath zombie. We don't find anything, fight the Pope again. Decide to return to the planet of Cocoon and fight the Pope one last time. But we end up saving the world with Fang and Vanille sacrificing themselves. I admit I quite like 13's ending, but it makes me like the sequel games less because I actually kind of like 13's ending point and impact.
Right. Enough with the bonding. It's go time.
Customization system is the Crystarium. Instead of traditional leveling up, you earn Crystagen points and spend them to progress along little grids for each character. You can choose which Paragon roles to prioritize when allocating points, but beyond that there isn't much meaningful decision making. Progress feels heavily gated, you'll quickly reach walls on each roll till you further advance the story. I described the Crystarium as kind of like the big sphere grid system from FF10, but with all the fun and choice stripped out.
That doesn't make sense. I don't get it.
Honestly, it feels more like a chore slowly draining your points in. without much excitement. Another thing I want to mention are 13 summons, Eidolons. We're back to the classic Final Fantasy summons.
Odin.
Well, kind of. You see, summons this time are very high-tech, robotic, and transform into vehicles. Shiva is back, but now as a motorbike and snow sits on her face. The badass screen-shattering Odin can transform into his horse. Brynhilda is a new summon, and she transforms into a car.
Eidolons, start your engines!
It's so ridiculous, it's kinda goofy and matches 13's futuristic vibe. I can understand why this got a mixed reception, it's a bit gimmicky, not quite as epic as Final Fantasy's usual summons. Every main character gets one summon unique to them, and you'd automatically unlock them as you progress the story. But as I said earlier, what hurts is that there are no optional extra summons to earn.
No more.
It's time to rank Final Fantasy XIII, and spoiler, it's not looking good. Now I've replayed it, I'm not a fan of FF13. If I praised 13 like the previous 12, I'd be contradicting everything I love about Final Fantasy. Replaying 13 with a completely new and fresh perspective, I like the game even less than I remember. While recently replaying 12 revealed new things to appreciate, replaying 13 just made me realise how much it misses the mark on what Final Fantasy is all about. And that's why 13 is going at the bottom of my list. Here's why. I'm not a fan of the story. You're thrown in at the deep end with all this poorly explained terminology, and storytelling feels disjointed with jumping around into flashbacks to random points. Not to mention characters like Sid and Jill feel seriously underdeveloped. They bring back Sid into the story and do absolutely nothing with him. It feels like there was bigger things planned that were cancelled. Main characters were mixed, not so keen on Hope, and I struggled connecting with Lightning.
Would it kill her to smile?
I did like the art style, like I said, love the frosty ice crystal areas early on. Obviously music is incredible, like always with Final Fantasy. Customization with the Crystarium System is basic and bare bones, especially compared to what came before. Gameplay is more linear than ever. There were moments where I was trying not to fall asleep as I trudged through endless hallways of enemies, mostly spamming auto battle and occasionally swapping paradigms. They tried something new with the turn-based combat. It's fast-paced, flashy, you're using the paradigm system to quickly swap character roles. But you're only in control of one party member and it feels silly to not make use of the auto battle option. There's the Stagger System, but I think it's much better suited to an action game. While I'm always saying I wish modern Final Fantasy games stuck to turn-based combat, I've got to admit I'm not a huge fan of how it works in 13. You pass by or run straight through these amazing looking cities and amusement parks that you'd love to explore, but they're just windows, you can't properly experience and explore them. And honestly, what I think hurts FF13 more than anything, the lack of good, meaningful side content. You get a little near the end of the game, but it's too little too late. I'd especially love some side content to unlock some new summons. If you want to see me replaying the previous Final Fantasy games or my review of Final Fantasy XIV's latest patch, that'll all be on screen at the minute, but for now, I'm done with 13. Have a good one.